the major thing holding people back is the amount of investment required.
Right.
And apart from that, there's also the issue about access to good facilities, good
Mm-hmm.
arenas with jumps. Now, for instance, I pursue eventing, but
Right.
the only proper eventing courses in India
Mm-hmm.
are under the army.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it's always been a challenge getting enough practice
Mm-hmm.
because the cross country courses fall within army land and they're not really open to civilians all year round.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sports Lost Edge podcast. My name is Tushar Kateria. I will be the host for today's episode. In this episode, we have our guest, Sthavi Asthana, who is an equestrian athlete. And she is one of the few people from India who are pursuing such kind of niche sports in India. So, first of all, Sthavi, thank you so much for coming on board for this podcast. We are very honored to have you on board. First of all, how are you right now?
Thank you for having me. I'm a fan of your podcast and it's a great honor to be invited. I am doing well. I hope you are well as well.
Yeah, thank you for your kind words. So, yeah, I'm doing pretty fine right now. We are honored to have you on board for this episode. So, straightly, let's go on to our first question. So, how is your journey started into the equestrian, and when you decided that you want to become a professional athlete in such a niche area of sports, which is I don't know any of in my sports circle is right now pursuing it, because you are the first
Mm.
person that I come on board with, the Karuna Thareja, who is my senior. So, yeah, please go ahead.
So I first started riding at a very young age. I think I was 8. I started riding for fun. My father just put me on a horse. He wanted me to pick up a sport, and riding is known to build leadership and confidence. And also, I've always been an animal lover since I was a little kid. So everything sort of pointed towards this sport. Originally, I started for fun, but then I started to compete. My first competition was in 2009, if I remember correctly. This was the Delhi Horse Show, which is the biggest competition in India with participants from all over the country. Uh, I managed to win a gold medal in that competition, and that sort of kick-started my career. I was just like, this is what I'm doing all my life. So basically, since then, I never really got off my horse.
Yeah, it's love to hear that you went into such a sports, which I think not everyone right now going through that, and you followed your passion and you become professional athlete in equestrian. So yeah, let's move on to our second question. The challenges that you face while pursuing such kind of a sport, because it's a very expensive sports right now, to be very honest, and how
Yeah.
you managed to end it up and you are right now professional athlete.
So, well, yes, this sport requires a lot of investment
Hmm.
because to succeed at the higher levels, you need a good horse. I mean, it's like to win a Formula One race, you can't go in a Maruti.
Right.
You need to be skilled as a rider, but you also need a good horse, and good horses are quite expensive. So, that is the major challenge in this sport, getting a good horse. There's also the expenses involved with maintaining the horse
Hmm.
because just stabling alone can be 25,000 per month. Then you have the feed course, groom training,
Right.
supplements, lots of showing. There's no end to the amount of cost money you have to spend.
Hmm.
Traveling to competitions is another major cost.
Right.
And aside from that, there's also the training component
Hmm.
because good quality trainers and access to good facilities, that is also expensive. So, for instance, I just went for a stint in Germany
Hmm.
in July and August. I spent about 2.5, 3 weeks there. I did a couple of competitions for exposure
Hmm.
and I trained with some really good trainers there.
Hmm.
It was a wonderful experience, really taught me a lot But
Mhm.
again, that's expensive, you know. It
Right.
costs about 7.5 lakhs
Oh.
approximately. And all these things add up. And yeah, the major the challenge is the expense, basically. That's why I'm always on the lookout for a sponsor,
Right.
because in this sport, most top athletes usually have a sponsor,
Mm.
and that is how they get through the sport.
Absolutely. Because
Another issue in this sport in India, especially, is that it's quite male dominated.
right.
So, for instance, if you have 100 entries, there have been times where I've been the only girl.
Oh.
And, you know, when you're younger,
Mhm.
sometimes uh, it can also add to the challenge
Mhm.
because, you know, you stand out.
Right.
Now I'm much more confident. I've been competing for a long time.
Mm.
But earlier, you know, when you stand out as the only girl, if you
Mhm.
fail, you know, it's that girl, she came and she wrote like shit.
Mm.
But you
Right.
know, if a guy fails, it's okay. He made a mistake.
Mhm.
It happens. You
Mhm.
know, it's just like when you see a woman driver making a mistake on the road, everyone
Mm.
will be like, "Oh, women can't drive."
Agree. Mhm.
So that sort of adds to the mental challenge,
Mhm.
which I think now I've learned to overcome. But yes, for younger riders, less experienced riders, I feel it is a challenge, especially um, since it is an army dominated sport.
Right.
And even when I was in the NCC, I used to ride for Mathura squadron.
Mhm.
My officers, the JCOs, Ustad jo hote hain hamare, they
Right.
used to have this sort of attitude sometimes, which is quite discouraging.
Mm.
But yes, you work through it.
I see. And it's completely, I'm completely honest with you, because right now in past 10 years, one athlete who made it into the Olympics, and it was Fouad Mirza, who represented India in the Tokyo
Yeah,
Olympics. We'll talk about that later on. So yeah, so let's move on to the next question. That you, because we recently talked about it, at how you like athletes like you, athletes like Fouad Mirza, there are only few talented athletes who went into the international event. How we can get more athletes like you, like Fuad Mirza? And yeah, because in India we have a very small talent pool right now in equestrian event, because there's a very different sets of event that happen in such kind of a sport. So yeah, how there could be a vision that for the next 20-30 year, that how we can get more athletes, especially in this event, because it's quite a beautiful event. If anyone want to watch it, because I watched that Fuad Mirza event online in
yeah.
last year Tokyo Olympics. So yeah, how we can pursue for that if we have a very longer vision for it?
So the major thing holding people back is the amount of investment required.
Right.
And apart from that, there's also the issue about access to good facilities, good
Mm-hmm.
arenas with jumps. Now, for instance, I pursue eventing, but
Right.
the only proper eventing courses in India
Mm-hmm.
are under the army.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it's always been a challenge getting enough practice
Mm-hmm.
because the cross country courses fall within army land and they're not really open to civilians all year round.
It's a very inclusive.
Yeah, so what we need is more riding academies, more top class facilities
Mm-hmm.
with a proper arena, proper surfaces, access to jumps, cross country courses.
Mm-hmm.
And one major step in this direction has been the MP State Equestrian Academy,
Mm-hmm.
which is again a government sponsored academy.
Right.
They have done a really good job and they've promoted a lot of riders from the grassroots above.
Mm-hmm.
So they have set up a wonderful academy, world class arenas.
Mm-hmm.
They have imported a few horses as well.
Right.
And they are really encouraging their riders, sending them abroad for training.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one model I think which other states can also emulate
Mm-hmm.
and encourage more riders to come up and get into this sport.
Right.
This also handles the challenge of the investment that is required
Mm.
because then you have government support from that side. The
Absolutely.
government helps the athletes to import horses, maintain them, sponsors training.
Mm.
I think other state governments can really look into this model and try to emulate it as far as possible.
Absolutely, I completely agree with you. And I think Maharaj in Pune, because went to Pune to complete my graduation in law, and Pune do have this horse riding events because they have derby in that region, and I think places like that which have certain heritage, they can promote sports like equestrian because they have such kind of infrastructure. But I think it's a very inclusive, and that's why inclusivity is something which is a major concern in events like equestrian and other events, if we talk about it, right? So that's why
That's
we.
true. See, because of the costs involved,
Mm-hmm,
if you if there is no government support, the
mm-hmm,
sport cannot be inclusive
mm-hmm,
because you can't expect a normal person to go and buy a horse. The
mm-hmm.
cost of a good horse, which can take you to the international level, can be from 50 lakhs, 1 crore. There's
Absolutely
really
right.
no upper limit.
Mm-hmm,
And even an average horse, it goes into the lakhs. So you
mm-hmm,
can't expect more ordinary people to pursue the sport
mm-hmm.
unless there is more government support.
Right. Yeah. And because of that only, I think especially in India, because we are not like America, we don't have that kind of investment, because we talk about it from with Ed Bowers and other people from Danlas who is from US, because we talk about it, how the US market works, because it's very completely different. And India is
Yeah,
country like India, we should have the support from the government. Until and unless we get the sponsorship and grant for the government, then only the events like equestrian can become a major part. Especially you see in
true.
from 2006 2008, state like Haryana, they make a major investment in their sports which are really great in their, like kabaddi, like wrestling, like
Wrestling.
boxing,
Yeah,
because they
yeah,
invested base, find out that what are the events that their states can give. They produce such kind of athlete, and that's why states like these, they are doing pretty well. Even we saw state of Odisha also, because they are making a major investment. They want to become the sporting capital of India, and they are making events in like rugby, hockey, cricket, football, and major sport. They, because they want to produce more athletes, and then only because they also sponsor their athletes also, and that's the only way that they want to become a powerhouse in sports. And I think you talk about the how Madhya Pradesh, they are right now implemented that model, especially in equestrian, by setting
yeah,
up a academy for this. And that's a major reason that we should have more academy, especially in equestrian. And then only we get the athletes like you, like Fouaad, Mirza, and top 10
yeah.
athletes right now in India who are following this kind of a sport.
Yeah, you need to provide access to good facilities and good horses,
Mhm,
promote the sport at the grassroots. That's the only way you can broaden the pool of athletes and
mhm.
get more people who can eventually reach the top level.
Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, let's move on to the next question. So you went to the National Law University Delhi. You completed your BLLB or BBLLB?
BLLB honors.
BLLB honors. So you completed that, and then you went to the NALSAR Hyderabad to you completed. You already completed your LLM. So how was the experience? Because you are the one of
To
the
wait
few.
my degree.
Yeah, because you are one of the few athletes who went to the field of law, and you completed your graduation in law and also the masters in law. How was that experience helping you out in the sport?
So actually, my choice of college was also dictated by my sport. I wanted to be in Delhi, so NLU Delhi was always my first choice. That year I'd also gotten a decent rank in CLAT, but like I didn't want to go to Bangalore or Hyderabad or
Oh,
something. It was like,
hmm,
you know, that university is like 40 kilometers from the
right,
city, and I
hmm,
was like, how am I ever going to get on a horse? Like,
right,
so Delhi was always my first choice.
hmm,
Um, it was definitely challenging to manage this my sport with
hmm,
the demands of law school.
hmm,
You know how law school is.
yeah,
You have exams and projects, and it gets really hectic at times.
absolutely,
But I think it also teaches you the value of time management
hmm,
and prioritizing work. So, I continued writing throughout my 12th boards.
hmm,
I continued writing throughout college, and I I did my master's last year, and I have also been working professionally at a riding academy, and I've been competing actively throughout.
Right.
Um, I think, yes, it is very unusual to find a lawyer
Hmm.
in this sport, but I
Right.
think it's becoming more and more popular. To be honest, I know quite a few lawyers who are also riding,
Hmm.
and yeah, I think it's a good field for anyone.
Absolutely, because I also used to play professionally cricket in through for because I represented Uttar Pradesh at a junior level, and sport is something that teach you a lot. They teach you about the teamwork, and you implement that kind of a skill in your group projects, especially the presentation that we used to do it while presenting our presentations, our work, our projects to the professors. Even the outside faculty come for a certain activities like moot court competition, mock trial, because
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's the only way sports really help you out because you know how to do the time
It teaches
management.
you discipline,
Absolutely.
time management, definitely,
Eh,
focus. All these qualities just carry over to every aspect of your life.
hmm. and and that's why we see that whoever went to the sports who want to become a sports lawyer or a gaming lawyer, they had a certain kind of trait while either they are playing the sports at a professional basis or at an amateur level, or they are associated with this sports as quite a long time while they are doing some certain kind of voluntary work for any organization or for any NGO, and through that only they entered into the sports, and that's how I ended up in the sports industry, because the only way that I can contribute, because I can become a sports lawyer, I can know how I can help out the athletes while negotiating their contract for the sponsorship, and that's the only way that I can provide it, and that's why I become a sports lawyer. And that's why, and because right now you
You
are.
have first-hand experience being an athlete yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and the because the thing is when I started playing, because you already know how cricket is very famous in India, because through the 83 World Cup it become very commercialized in
Yeah,
1995. We having a broadcast deal come into the picture, and I think whenever the broadcasting deal come into the picture, the sports become it change a lot because money comes into the picture.
that's true. That's true. I think even equestrian could benefit from a league of
Hmm.
sorts.
Hmm.
Really popularize the sport, because right now most people don't even know about it. You
Hmm.
mention equestrian, people think it's racing.
Yeah.
But I think we need to spread some more awareness about the sport, get more people watching it on TV,
Hmm.
more social media coverage.
Hmm.
It's also necessary to attract more kids into the sport.
Absolutely. And recently, because I'm reading one book, The District Cub, written by Mallika Ravikumar, and there's a one chapter, and this talk about the one of the character in the book, and take over, and he's talking about he's speaking to himself in his mind, and he was saying we need a one athlete who can change it. Look at what happened in cricket. Sachin Tendulkar come and it become commercialized. Baichung Bhutia come into the football, it become commercialized. Now we see that Sunil Chhetri is one of the flag barrier in sports. Abhinav Bindra came into the rifle events and he won the gold medal, and it completely changed. And we see how many great talents we are coming on board, and
The
and
Fogart sisters in wrestling.
Phogat sisters, yeah, and also Sania Nehwal, Sania Mirza, even because
Yeah,
she won
yeah.
so many Grand Slam in lawn tennis, and that's why we saw such kind of athletes. Oh, we need one athlete who can change it, and I think after the inception of Fouad Mirza, who went into the Tokyo Olympics, and he ended up in the I think in top 15. I think he got, maybe I'm wrong, but I think top 15 or
Performed
top 10.
very well.
Yeah, he performed really well, and this is the first time happened from India that equestrian athlete come and competing in such an international event, especially in
Yeah, it's
equestrian.
it's very motivating actually.
Hmm.
Even when the Indian team and Fuad they won the silver in the Asian Games,
Hmm.
it really highlights the sport. It encourages people to take it up,
Yeah.
because then people know that they can reach a certain height in this sport,
Right.
represent the country,
Hmm.
win fame,
Hmm.
win laurels for the nation. That is what motivates people.
Absolutely. And these are the thing only that people like us who are even associated as a lawyer, we really like to help our athlete, and that's the only way. That's the one motivation that I have. Help the athletes who are from the very niche, from a niche sport, who are playing such a sport like because we see so many, because there are so many athletes right now from the tier 2 and tier 3 cities who want to compete in the very niche sport. Because we see there's a one winter olympic, there's one athlete, I couldn't remember his name, and he was participating one event in that, and no one talking about that. And recently I think in Rio
Yeah,
games,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, and I think in Rio games that gymnastic events, the female athlete, she was competing, and at
Dipika
that time,
Karmakar.
yeah, Dipika Karmakar. And she before the, I think from the finals, she didn't even have her own physiotherapist at that time. And in a very
Yeah,
hassle way, government of India, they send the physiotherapist. And these are the thing only that I don't know why government is not supporting an athlete, because there can be so many factors which are involved. But I think government have to look out if they want to, if they want India to be represented fully in the Olympics, because I think they will be uh, bidding for the Olympic Games after 2040, because they are right now they're preparing for it. So let's see what will happen. But still, we have so many work to do right now.
true.
Yeah. So yeah, let's move to the last question. So what are your plans for the future? What are things that you want to look in the next 5 years that you want to do it?
I want to start competing more at the international level.
Mm-hmm.
I want to aim for the next Asian Games
Uh-huh.
and then eventually the upcoming Olympics. Uh, so yes, the next 2026 Asian Games will be my immediate target.
Mm-hmm.
I want to qualify for the Indian team and have a good performance, win a medal for the country.
Yeah, and we all will be supporting for you, the people who are right now the listeners of the Sports Lost It podcast, in whatever manner that we can help you out. We will do it. And yeah, wish you all the very best for the competition.
Thank you so
And
much.
yeah, and I hope you represent India at the full scale and win medals for us. But most important thing, getting experience from the international events is really a great thing whenever you enter into the international tournaments, which can help you out to look at the what are the things that I have to work on it, and that's the only way that you can improve
True.
as an athlete.
It gives you a lot of exposure
Mm-hmm.
because then you know what you're competing against. You know
Mm-hmm.
what your standards should be.
Right.
Like I just went and competed in Germany and it was a real eye opener.
And how was
Whatever
it? How was
international
the
events we go to.
tournament? Because a lot of the people don't know how this kind of events have and what kind of procedure is it. If you can explain it in in a short manner, that can be really great for us.
So it depends. In Germany, I did the national shows
Mm-hmm.
where you compete on a guest license.
Mm-hmm.
I was fortunate enough to place in both the competitions I did.
Mm-hmm.
Placing means you win,
Right.
and apart from that, I've also done some other international events as well. The
Mm-hmm.
CCI Concours Complete
Mm-hmm.
International, which have been held in India,
Right.
the FEI World Challenge Jumping, FEI World Challenge Dressage.
Mm-hmm.
All these events are also very good for exposure because then you have an international jury,
Right.
qualified judges from the International Equestrian Federation. The courses are set by to international standards, and if you perform well, then you
Mm-hmm.
know that you're on the right track.
Absolutely. Yeah. S- So yeah, I think that is for today. And yeah, thank you so much, Savis, for coming on board in such a short duration. And yeah, we wish you
Thank
all the
you
best for your
for
all the
having me.
future. Yeah. So let
Thank
me.
you.
Yeah. Any last word you want to convey through this podcast?
Just that it's a wonderful sport, and I'd like to encourage more people to give it a try. We need, especially girls, we need more girls in this sport as well.
Yeah. So that's it for
And
today.
thank you
For
so much.
yeah, for thank you for accepting a invite for in such a short duration. So, channel also you can find me and Sports Losses on social media platform. I'll put the link down below of our link tree link so that you can go and check us out. And if you want to know what are things that I'm doing, so just follow me on the Instagram. So it's a TK Sports Lawyer. So just find me on as well as on Twitter and Instagram. So yeah, we will meet you in our next episode. Until then, goodbye everyone.